Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. In this video, I'm going to be talking about my experience with keto and carnivore, what I found to be the pros and the cons of each, and who might be better suited for one or the other. If you're new to my channel, then welcome. My name's Kate, I'm a health coach, and I post videos on a high-fat, low-carb way of eating, intermittent fasting, all that good stuff. So if you want to see more, make sure to click that subscribe button. So at the start of August, I did a full 30 days, actually a little bit more than that, it was probably more like 5 weeks of 100% carnivore, no plant food whatsoever. I felt really good eating this way. I won't go too much into it here. If you want to know more about my experience and how it went, I have a whole carnivore playlist that you can check out. After that first 5 weeks, I started to reintroduce some plant foods back in. So just like a little bit of vegetables, some avocado, MCT oil, a little bit of nuts here and there, just things like that. How I eat now is probably about 75% animal products and the other 25 is plant products. So a little bit of a mix between the two. I think that both have a lot of benefits to offer. So if you want to hear more about the pros and the cons of each, then keep watching. So I'm just gonna quickly define the two before we start. So keto is a high-fat, low-carb way of eating that gets your body into ketosis. And carnivore is a way of eating that is only animal product. Meat, fish, eggs, dairy, that's pretty much it. Generally with carnivore, you still want to be consuming a lot of fat. I found that when I was eating 100% carnivore, I was still in ketosis. But yeah, that's just a really basic summary of the two. So we're gonna start with keto and the pros of keto first. The most obvious benefit of keto is being in ketosis. Ketosis has been proven to have so many benefits, everything from blood sugar regulation, weight loss, improved insulin sensitivity, improved brain function. Those are just a couple of the benefits. Another good thing about keto is there is a lot of variety. If you are just starting to look into keto, you might be like, what the heck, I'm having to cut so much out of my diet. But really, there are keto alternatives for just about everything. Keto is also really easy to do once you understand it, once you understand macros and just sort of wrap your head around the whole thing. It is also pretty easy to eat out once you're keto, and again, once you've wrapped your head around everything. And now for the cons of keto. In the beginning, there is a pretty big learning curve. If you are coming from a standard American diet, or you just really aren't too familiar with macros, or maybe you've never even heard the term before, it can be pretty overwhelming. But once you get over that learning curve, it just becomes so much easier. And that being said, there is also a transition period when you're switching from your previous diet into keto that can be a little bit tough. Another con with keto is it is pretty easy to go overboard with fat. Although fat is very satiating, there are certain foods that are pretty easy to overconsume. Things such as nuts, nut butters, dairy and cheese. All of these things are very calorically dense and yeah, really easy to overconsume. This is a pretty common reason for why people hit plateaus on keto. They're just way overdoing it with the heavy whipping cream. The next con is that it can be done in an unhealthy way. Because this way of eating is based around macros, a lot of people think that as long as a food fits into those macros, they are doing the right thing. And that may not be the case if your diet is made up of mainly hot dogs and bad oils. I really believe that to be getting the maximum benefits from this way of eating, or any way of eating really, that you need to be eating quality. Our health is the most valuable thing that we have, and we really need to treasure it. I believe that keto can be beneficial for a huge chunk of the population. Anyone who's looking to lose weight, anyone with type 2 diabetes or other blood sugar or insulin issues, if you're looking for more consistent energy throughout the day, if you're looking for more brain power, more mental clarity, more focus, and also if you're an endurance athlete. That is actually one of the reasons I started looking into keto. I'm a cyclist, and having to refill your glycogen stores every hour and a half or else risking bonking it is just such a pain. Now I can pretty much do a ride fasted and go 3-4 hours before I probably should eat, but I could keep going. It is a fantastic, fantastic feeling. Now let's get into the pros of carnivore. So with carnivore, you experience all the benefits of keto plus more. A couple of the things I experienced when I switched from keto to carnivore was my sleep was just amazing. I mean, it wasn't bad before, but when I was eating carnivore, like 100% carnivore, I could fall asleep easily. I would sleep through the whole night and then wake up with tons of energy. My hunger cues were also completely in check. I ate when I was hungry, I stopped when I was full. It is really, really hard to overeat when you were eating carnivore. I was also never, ever bloated, and I realized this is because I wasn't consuming any fiber, and fiber can sometimes lead to you being bloated. Carnivore is also very beneficial if you have an autoimmune disorder. My partner has psoriasis, and even after just 1 week of eating carnivore, there were noticeable improvements. Another pro of carnivore is that it is really, really easy. I mean that in the sense that you don't have to think or plan or spend a lot of time in the grocery store. You have very limited options, and that just makes things so simple. Meat is also very nutrient dense, so you're getting a lot of bang for your buck with what you're eating. And also, all the vitamins and minerals are really easy for our bodies to absorb. Some of the cons of carnivore, the first one being that there is really no variety. I mean, this is a pro and a con. It's a pro because it makes things really, really simple, really, really easy. But it's also a con because it can get a little bit tedious, can get a little bit boring. I know I'm gonna have some comments being like, I could eat ribeyes all day long, I'm so satiated, they're so delicious, and I do agree with you. They are very satiating, but I know the concern of getting bored is there, and I know that is an issue that some people have. I really think that a lot of it is mindset though. If you go into it thinking, I'm going to be bored, what am I gonna eat? Yeah, you're gonna get bored. But if you go into it thinking, okay, this is how I'm gonna eat, and that's that, end of story, it's gonna be a lot easier. It's also pretty hard to eat out when you're eating carnivore. The only things you can really have at restaurants are like a steak with no sauce, and you need to make sure that it's cooked in butter. I mean, I guess you can also have eggs or some other form of meat, but yeah, you can't have anything on top of it. And that does make eating out a little bit of a challenge. Don't get me wrong, it can get done, but it's definitely difficult. It can also be expensive. It doesn't have to be, but it can be. There are ways to make it more affordable. You can buy your meat in bulk. I've seen things such as, I think it's called cow sharing, where a group of people will pool their money together. They'll buy like a whole cow for a really, really good price, and then they sort of split it so everyone gets a chunk of it. I don't know however many, like 8 or 10 people. Another con is that there's no fiber. A lot of people say that taking out fiber is a good thing, and I think that's true for a period of time, although fiber does have benefits. Don't get me wrong, I think that fiber is way overemphasized in our diets. We do not need as much as we are consuming, but there are still benefits. Now, I just want to start this off by saying that this is just my opinion on groups of people who may benefit from carnivore. I do not know if carnivore is suitable for everyone, and I do not know if it is suitable long term. I know for myself that in the short term, It was amazing. I experienced a lot of benefits. I felt really good. But that being said, my experience could be different from yours. Whereas with the keto diet, where there are lots of studies proving the benefits, there are no studies on carnivore. Now, that doesn't mean it's not effective and that there aren't benefits. I think the best thing we can do is try these things out for ourselves, see how we react, see how we feel. So people I think who would benefit from the carnivore diet is anyone with autoimmune issues. Pretty much carnivore is just like an extreme elimination diet. If you want to figure out what your triggers are for your autoimmune issues or other food sensitivity issues you're having, then you can try doing carnivore for a period and then adding some things back in. I also think that anyone who's been doing keto for a while and has hit a plateau, they might be able to benefit from carnivore. As I mentioned before, I found that it just reset my hunger cues and really made me tap into if I'm hungry and if I'm not. If you have gut issues, eliminating fiber for a period of time can also help. And then there's also those with anxiety and depression. I know there's a lot of anecdotal evidence of people seeing improvements with their anxiety and their depression from eating carnivore. I think that may just come down to them eliminating the foods that were maybe triggers, but I'm not 100%. Anyways, if you're struggling with either of those, you might want to try it for a period of time and again, introduce things slowly afterwards. Anyways, guys, that's all I have for today. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this, please remember to give it a thumbs up. If you're thinking about starting a keto lifestyle, then head over to my website. I have some free downloads for you, and I also do coaching, so you can check that out. Thanks again for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye, guys.